163, and in your book, page 186. Okay, up here at the top shows us all the little cutout from the worksheet that we need. Okay, it shows our sales, our expenses, and whether we had a net income or net loss that you have already figured out. Okay, remember, the income statement's going to report the same information, but it's going to be in a little bit more of a meaningful way, and it's on a form so people can read it a little bit more easily than the worksheet. Okay, so we're going to prepare the heading first. Now the heading's the same. The first line is going to be your business name. Second line, what are we preparing, and then how you're going to state the date. Okay, so if you turn to page 186 in your book, okay, so first line, first thing is the heading. All right, so Darlene's delivery service, centered at the top. Okay, what are you preparing? The income statement. And the third line is going to be now a little bit different. Okay, it's not going to be a specific date like the balance sheet. Remember, it's a specific period of time. So it tells us our month is July 31st. We're preparing this at the end of the month, so we're going to write for month ended July 31st, 2011. Okay, so third line for month ended July 31st, 2011. Remember, as best you can, you're going to center the titles there. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do then is we're going to write in our two sections of the income statement. Okay, so over here where I'm going to point, all this is for writing your account titles and your sections. Okay, the first section of an income statement is revenue. Okay, you're going to write, now you're going to make sure you're skipping this. This is just for decoration or whatever, but nothing gets written on there. Okay, you don't have to squiggle that out, but just so you know, nothing goes on there. Okay, you're going to write the first section heading, which is revenue, all the way to the left side. Okay, so revenue is a section heading, and any accounts underneath of that section heading need to be indented a little bit. Remember, the only revenue account is what? Sales, right? So you're going to write sales indented. Okay, and now we're going to look here up above, and we're going to find out what was our sales. Okay, there's our sales. Now remember, when you're going to come down here, or not remember, but I'm telling you for the first time, these columns, there's two of them, they are not thought of as debit and credit, which is going to be a little bit different for you. The first line is for any calculations that need to take place. The second column is for totals. So, is the sales a total, or are we going to have to calculate it? We already know it, right? So the 5511 is a total. We already know what it is. So there's no figuring that's going to have to take place. So we're going to write the 5,511 over here where my pencil is. Okay? No calculations are going to take place. That's why we're going to write it over here. Okay? So 5,511. All right. So sales is the only revenue account. So we're done with that particular section for right now. And now we're going to go down a little bit further here. And our second section of the income statement is expenses. Okay, so remember, headings get written all the way to the left. Okay, so now you're going to take all your expenses in exact order from the worksheet and you're going to write them in. Now we're going to have to figure out a total of our total expenses. So you're going to have to do, you're going to write them in the first column. Okay, so we're going to start here, whichever one's our first one. And if you look up here from up above, advertising is listed first. Okay, you're going to come down here. Remember, now we're going to list the accounts under our heading, so we're going to indent a little bit. Okay. And the 821 is going to go right here, and we're going to have to add. So make sure that you put in the total, or just the numbers for these expenses in the first column. Okay? Next is insurance expense. If you look up here, this is the next one. Okay, next, miscellaneous. $347 there. And then last up here, supplies expense. Okay, so you've written your expenses down, and now we're going to make a calculation. Okay, so coming right here, you're going to get your ruler out, and you're going to draw straight across right here, showing a calculation is to take place. Okay, straight across, only the one column gets the rule, okay, because those are the only numbers that you're adding. So 821 plus 300 plus 347 plus 713. Take a minute and figure that out. Okay, hopefully you get 2,181, which represents total expenses. So now going right over here, you're going to write total expenses. Okay? Okay, so we have how much our revenue was, or our sales up here. We just calculated our total expenses. And now we're going to figure out whether the business has a net income or net loss. Remember, if revenue is bigger than expenses, then we have a net income. So right here, this is larger. So the money we earned is larger than the money we spent. Okay? So now another calculation is going to take place. You're going to take 5511 and subtract it from 2181 here. So you're going to rule one more time under 2,181. Okay, so now you're going to write whether you have a net income or net loss. You're going to subtract. So take 5511 minus 2181. See what you get. Hopefully you get 3330. Okay, so now that number represents net income, right? Because revenue was larger. So you're going to write net income over to the side. Okay. Last then, before we double rule, you need to look up here at the worksheet. Did we get the same net income on the worksheet as our income statement? If they are the same, then you know your information is correct and you may double rule. Okay, so we got 3,330, right? The same. So now you can double rule, and you double rule across both columns.